Hey, welcome everyone. This is Mike from ZozoStockWatch.com, and this is your stock watch list for Monday, the 9th of April, and also your Let's Get Ready for the week ahead for the week of the 9th through the 13th of April. Let's go ahead and get right into it. This is some news courtesy of the Trade Exchange. First one up is this PCRX. PCRX FDA approves. They have one of their drugs approved. So that came out on Friday evening. And so that stock was moving up in the after hours on Friday. So this will be on watch, PCRX. And we'll go ahead and go through the markets, but I just want to go through some news that came out after the bell on Friday, real fast, courtesy of the Trade Exchange. SVU, possible sell on SVU. That stock gapping up on Friday, SVU. Here, OGEN, I believe they came out with an offering. We'll check that out. Yeah, they had a direct offering, so that stock ticking down. So that one had news. They're doing an offering there on OGEN. And let us see, what else do we have? NLNK, New Link Genetics announces review of clinical programs, NLNK. So this stock was selling off Friday after the bell. PCRX has a conference call planned for Monday at 8:30 a.m. So that's the 9th of April for PCRX. So they will be having a conference call at that time. Then over the weekend, we got a tweet by Donald Trump. President Trump is and I will always be friends no matter what happens with our dispute on China. China will take down its trade barriers because it's the right thing to do. Taxes will become reciprocal and a deal will be made on intellectual property. Great future for both countries. So that tweet came out on a Sunday morning from Donald Trump. So we'll see if that helps with the trade wars and the markets this week for Monday. Let's see, Fox Business Boeing, hopeful over U.S. China trade resolution. So this coming out from Boeing, symbol there, BA. And then we had some syndicate news that came out of Friday. AQB Form S3, CCI Form 4 2B2. Sale of common stock, PTI Form S3, RESN, additional 3 million public offering, TLGT Form 3, 50 million mixed shelf on that one for TLGT. We'll go ahead and go into the unusual options activity for Friday. This courtesy of the Trade Exchange. CRM had unusual call activity. AVEO unusual call activity. AZEN. Altria Group, MODE, ILG, FTI, the VIX itself, Citigroup, HAIN, and WU all had unusual call activity. To the put side, we had GERN, unusual put activity. So that's some of your unusual call and put activity for Friday. So let's go ahead and look at some things that we have to be looking ahead for this week. On Monday, not really much economic information. Tuesday, we do start some Fed speak 4:30 a.m. So you must be in Europe on that. Robert Kaplan at 8:30. We have the PPI number coming out 8:30. Then after that, for the rest of the day, not too much. 10 o'clock wholesale trade. 4:30 API crude oil data coming out for Tuesday. For Wednesday, pretty straightforward, but the main thing here for Wednesday is that the FOMC minutes will be coming out at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, and that's on the 11th for Wednesday. So that could be a market move mover there if there's anything telling as far as the interest rates moving up or whatnot. One of the concerns for the market is that is Powell going to be raising rates in May? Okay, so that would mean that if he raises in May, that means that there may be four rate hikes this year. All right, so just keep that in mind. So they can use their May option for a possible raise in rates. So we'll see if there's any kind of information in the FOMC minutes hinting at that. All right, and that'll be coming out 2 o'clock on Wednesday. For Thursday, pretty straightforward. Let's see, we have chain store sales coming out. We have the 8:30 import export, 8:30 initial jobs claim. 10:30 we have natural gas coming out. We also, I forgot to mention on Wednesday, we have the 10:30 numbers coming out for oil. So that's at 10:30. We have some Fed speak at 5 o'clock on Thursday. And then Friday, basically we have some early Fed speak, and then we have Fed speak at 9 o'clock. And then we have the JOLTS number coming out at 10 a.m. on Friday, consumer sentiment at 10 a.m., 1 o'clock the Baker Hughes, and then a sprinkle of 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time Friday Fed speak. So a little bit of sprinkling of Fed speak here. The big thing to watch out for is the FOMC minutes. That'll be to see if there's any type of hint that they're going to be raising rates in May. Let's go ahead and get into some of the earnings that are going to be coming out for this week. We'll go ahead and take a look. This courtesy of Earnings Whisper. Nothing major until we get towards the end of the week. We have, let's see, simply good. Symbol there is SMPL. We have Fastnell, symbol there, FAST. Bed Bath & Beyond is Wednesday after the close, BBBY. Rite Aid, symbol RAD, before the open on Thursday. Delta, DAL. Will be reporting Thursday before the bell. BlackRock reporting earnings on Thursday before the bell. Then after the close on Thursday, there's really no earnings to speak of. But then Friday kicks off a lot of the banks. So this is really the start of the earnings season right here. This coming Friday before the open, we have JP Morgan. JPM is the symbol there. Citi, letter C. Wells Fargo, WFC there. And we also have PNC Bank. PNC is the symbol there. So a lot of banks will be reporting. First Republic also will be reporting Friday before the bell. And this is the kickoff of the earnings season right here as we start heading into the following week, and then there'll be more larger names reporting earnings again. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the SPY and a few markets here. I won't dwell on too many of them because they pretty much look very similar. All of them are pretty much under the 50 SMA and trying to hold the 200 SMA for the SPY. So that's the story we have here. Kind of still bear flagging here underneath the 50 SMA, but battling here at the 200 SMA. This low from Monday, the 2nd of April, right? Last Monday will be closely watched. It's around that 254.67, so we'll call it 255 area. That'll be closely watched tomorrow if the market should decide to continue moving down. And then we have the February low back here, which is at 252.92, so we'll call that 253. So I have a yellow line here on my daily chart for that low on the 2nd of April, and then here's my green line for this low back in February. So be watching those two areas for possible breaks or if they hold. All right, so pretty much a lot of markets look like this. There were comments made out, China is our enemy. They are committing acts of war against the U.S., and it has been long overdue to confront them. This, I think, was a comment by President Trump. This isn't about a trade war. It is about the United States and national security. So, in his mind, a lot more rests on this than just the trade war. It's about property rights and intellectual rights, I should say, the national security of the United States. And then, you had the the Chinese saying, well, if you're going to raise tariffs on us 100 billion, we're going to do the same and raise tariffs on you 100 billion. So the war is heating up a little bit, and that it's geopolitical. Anybody can tweet something at any time and move the markets up or down. That's the problem with geopolitical. It's a lot of uncertainty, brings a lot of caution to the markets. The markets were down. The Dow was down 572 points on Friday, 161 on the Nasdaq, 58 points on the S&P. Overall, for Friday, the Dow was down over 2%, the Nasdaq down over 2%, and Friday the S&P was down over 2%. For the week, though, the Dow was only down 3/4%. The Nasdaq did end up down 2% for the week, and the S&P ended up down 1% for the week. Trade war fears, like I said, uncertainty, cautious markets. Investors were moving away from stocks on Friday, but we do have earnings season starting, as I showed you previously. For Facebook, I forgot to mention that Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg will be before the congressional hearings on the 10th of April and the 11th of April. So 2 days of Mark Zuckerberg testifying before the congressional hearings. So, that's going to be a big day, big couple of days for Facebook. As you can see, still kind of in this bear flag. Did get some bounce off this 150 area, but not able to make much headway as, as Mark Zuckerberg will be testifying this week. Also, we had the Trump administration put new sanctions on Friday for Russian entities and individuals to curb cyber activities. So that also happened on Friday. So more sanctions against Russia. We have escalation fears with China as far as the trade war, and we also had the jobs number that came out on Friday, and the pace of hiring slowed in March, but it remained pretty strong. So, that was a little place where bulls could rest their hat on, were those job numbers on Friday, but it was fleeting as, people were afraid of the trade war and the uncertainty heating up there for the markets, and they sold off on Friday. Let's go ahead and look at some other markets here. We'll take a look at the SMH. All right, this has been a very strong sector, and we'll go ahead and take a look at it on a weekly chart. Excuse me, we're below the 20 SMA now on the weekly chart, and the 10 SMA on the weekly chart for the SMH. Such names as Nvidia, which is down below the 10 SMA. Also here, we'll take a look at it on the daily chart. We're below the 100 SMA. Intel also below its 10 SMA on the daily chart, but holding the 50 SMA currently for Intel. Let's look at Intel on the weekly, just because it is the largest holding in the SMH, holding above the 20 SMA on the weekly chart here on Intel. Let's look at some other sectors. We'll look at the IBB, which is showing a lot of weakness here, but we are at the 100 SMA on the weekly chart here for the IBB. If we look at it on the daily chart, it looks like it's a pretty broken down chart here. We'll see if the bulls can stage a rally off of this 100 spot on the IBB, and then the mid cap biotech stocks also breaking below the 200 SMA here for the XBI. So, we do have that round number 80 maybe to act as support. It held back here in that area. So we'll see if this pushes down, if the $80 area on the XBI can hold. But as you can see, we've just been in this trend down. We're below the 5 EMA, that yellow dotted line you see there, and just been riding the 5 EMA down now on the XBI. Some other markets to take a look at. Now, the IWM, it is below the 50 SMA, but we are holding above the 200 SMA here. We haven't broken it down. We've been holding. Back in February, we broke it down, but we pushed right back up. So, this is one thing that the bulls can hang their hat on here is that we haven't broken the 200 SMA on the IWM. If we look at it on the weekly chart, that would be about the 50 SMA on your weekly chart for the IWM. So an area to watch for the IWM is that 200 SMA, which is currently at 148.14 for the IWM. The micro caps, the IWC, same thing, same setup, holding below the 50, but holding above the 200 SMA for the IWC, the micro caps on the Russell. Let's go ahead and take a look at the NASDAQ. Now, this is holding above the 200 SMA. A lot of folks are watching this 154 level on the Qs, and we are below the 50 SMA and the 100 SMA on the QQQ. On the weekly, you can see we're below the 20, we're below the 10, but still holding above the 50 SMA. We haven't had a crack in the 50 SMA in a long time on the QQQ, so that'll be closely watched. The 50 SMA on the weekly chart for the NASDAQ QQQ is 151, so a number to watch for yourself on the QQQ. If that breaks, some real selling could come in. Let's look at USO, basically holding within this range, trying to hold this 50 SMA, the blue line you see here. Oil itself, light sweet crude oil, WTI, holding above the 100 SMA. We've had bounces along the 100 SMA, so we'll have to see if they can hold above $60 a barrel and bounce oil back up. Another sector that we'll look at is gold. Really, it's holding above the 50 SMA, but just can't get going above that break of the 10 SMA. If we look at it on the weekly chart, you see we had that resistance up there at 129. We haven't been able to break that 129, so that's the number to watch, that 129, 130 area for GLD to kind of break out on this weekly chart. SLV has been holding this $15 area, but trying to get back over, the 200 SMA on the weekly chart. A lot of work to do there. Here it is on the daily. You see we've just been battling back and forth. We remain under the 200, under the 50 SMA for silver. 1475 has been kind of a support area. Right now, 1525 is your support area for silver. If we look at the OIH, and that's been trying to hold this 23 areas, such names as Schlumberger, Halliburton, Rig. Okay, all of those are in there. Rig trying to hold this 950 area. So if oil turns, keep your eye on OIH for a possible bounce in some of those names. Schlumberger, Halliburton actually a little bit stronger than Schlumberger, but still under the 50 SMA, but holding above the 200 SMA. For Schlumberger, this stock is stuck under the 200 SMA right now, but 62 has been a support area on Schlumberger. Next sector we'll look at is the XLF. Now we have a lot of banks reporting on Friday. And we're kind of in this bearish flag here, trying to do battle here at around the 27 area and hold this 200 SMA, as a lot of markets right now and a lot of sectors. All right, so the 200 SMA right now for the XLF is at 2677, so we'll call it that 27 area. A lot of eyes are going to be watching that, especially with all those earnings coming out from the banks. Next up, we will take a look, and this will be the last sector I look at, will be the VIX itself. All right. Now, we trade the VIX in my service. We trade TIVIX, and we got a nice move out of it on Friday for a nice pop. But, overall, the VIX itself, right, not a lot of still a little bit of complacency in here. We are above this 20 line here, the 20 number, but previously, back in February, we were up to about 26. You would think with all the selling that went on Friday in the Dow and the markets, that the VIX would have popped up a little bit higher, but staying steady around that 20 area, still below the 10 SMA on my daily chart. So we'll see, how the markets and the VIX are going to do this week coming up. Here's a weekly chart of it. You can kind of see it better. On the weekly, it is holding above the 10 SMA, but, still below 20 25 and that 26 pop from February. So we'll see if they can bring any more fear into the market. Speaking of fear, fear and greed index, and I'll bring that up for you right now. The fear and greed index is currently at 9. All right, so that's a courtesy of CNN, and I'll bring this over in the video. So here's your fear and greed index. It's currently at 9. So extreme fear in the market. It's been down as low as 5. One time I looked at it last week, and right now we're kind of staying in that range between 5 and 10 on the fear and greed index. Twitter feed. This came out a little bit ago. Breaking: North Korea prepared to discuss denuclearization with Korean Peninsula with Trump. All right, so this was reported by the Wall Street Journal. North Korea has told the U.S. that Kim Jong-un is prepared to discuss the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula, according to U.S. officials. All right, so that news breaking out on a Sunday night. It's about 5:15 my time, Eastern time here, and so that news coming out over the weekend. So we'll see if that's a market mover to the on this BIOS. I got 1.1 million shares traded. A nice move up here on Friday. So BIOS will be on my watch. BWEN will also be on watch. A big pop, overextended. Here's the RSI down here. We're at about 81 on the RSI. So we'll have to let those, maybe like a red to green or something like that. You see, we slammed up to the 200 SMA, but it did have 2 million shares on Friday. We went from basically, 250 up to about $3. So in, small stock world, that's really not too oversold. So we'll see if that wants to set up. CASI, just been staying strong through this market and holding the 5 EMA. We'll see if there's some kind of intraday setup on that one. CLVS had news last week. I think this got an upgrade actually on CLVS, so I'll have this on watch. We had over 3 million shares come into CLVS. Some things that you should keep on your radar are some of the inverses, okay? DXD, or if the market's going to continue to move down, these are inverses. When the market moves down, these move up. DXD is one, SDOW is another one, SPXU is also another one. So keep your eye on some of the inverses. TZA for the small caps. All right, TZA can make nice moves if the small caps start selling off. Keep an eye on TZA, and then for the QQQ, you can watch the QID. That's also a way you can go along this if the market starts moving down. You can also protect your portfolio too. If the market moves down, you can put some of these in your portfolio, and they will go up if the market is moving down. Here's the SQQQ. This is also a short on the NASDAQ, okay? So you see it's been kind of holding below 20 here on the SQQQ. So keep a few of these inverses on your watch. Now, as far as TIVX, this is basically an intraday instrument. That's how I use it. I get trades intraday on this. When it broke over 10.25 on Friday, we got a beautiful trade in this, and it moved up almost up to over $11 on the TVIX. But I only trade this intraday, all right? Same thing with UVXY. I only trade these intraday, all right? Friday, we did the TIVX as the market was breaking down. TIVX was moving up. So, this is something that you need to keep on your watch and get used to playing in this market volatility. All right, some other things that I'm going to have on watch for tomorrow, and I guess kind of the week ahead. This EBIO was holding up very well, got up to $1.50. Nice action on Friday, relative strength, EBIO. Another thing I'll be watching is FTNT has been holding up here. FTNT cybersecurity. Here's the ETF for hacks. cybersecurity hack. Palo Alto Networks has also been very strong, so maybe FTNT might want to give us a possible move for the week ahead in that name. FireEye, that's in that area, in that space also, still struggling to stay above that 1750 area. So I kind of am leaning toward FTNT if for my cybersecurity play. Another one that I'm going to keep on watch. Maybe this is starting to put in a bottom here. There was some news out last week, and it's got some various, pops here and there. Here, I'll roll back my intraday chart for you. So we got a nice push here. Then they sold it off, pushed it all the way back up to $3.30, sold it back off. Then they pushed it back up into the close on Friday, up to about $3. So HMNY maybe trying to come up off the bottom. Looks like it's been getting some buying here. 4.9 million shares traded in HMNY. Another one, LMFA, had 2.7 million shares on Friday traded. Now, this is an under $1 stock. I've never traded this one before, but this one we'll keep on watch, see if we get that 95-cent break, 98-cent break for a possible dollar break on that one. PCRX will be on watch as it had that nice movement on Friday and then had that late day news come out on Friday. Don't forget they have a conference call Monday at 8:30. So we'll have that one on watch to see if it wants to set up. Another one we'll have on watch is SLS. It had these nice pops. This up to $11 here, $10. Then it kind of pulled back. It is still holding my 5 EMA around that $7 area. So SLS will be on watch also. Another one that'll be on watch is SSC. With all that rigmarole going on with LFIN right now, which is in a T12 halt, currently, and I feel really bad for the traders that are stuck in LFIN. If you're short the name, that's great because it'll probably open down. The only problem is, you're paying out to be short this stock, so it could take up to 10 days before they even trade this stock or longer. So we'll have to see how this is all going to play out. Fortunately, nobody in my service is stuck or trapped in LFIN. The Wall Street gods were looking out for us. We didn't even actually play this one at all last week. I was playing other things. Didn't want to get caught up in the T12 halt. Didn't know it was coming, but this was a very shady company. Had an idea, was suspect, and just didn't want to trade it. There were other things to trade last week, so we did that instead. But feel bad for the traders that are stuck in LFIN. But if you're short this name, it should open and move to the downside. The only problem is you don't know when it's going to open, if it's going to be 10 days or even longer. So good luck there with LFIN, dangerous stock. SVU, nice pop on Friday. Possible takeover chatter on this name, SVU. So this will be on watch. 3.6 million shares pushed it up on Friday. TENX had a big move up to $12. Now it's pulled back, staying above 7 and holding above my 5 EMA for TENX. So, popped here, pulled back. We'll see if this can get maybe back over in the 8 area. Maybe it gets interesting again. TENX, keep that on watch. We'll see how it sets up intraday. TNTR, this had 2.2 million shares traded on Friday, starting to turn the corner a little bit. There's a high here of $2.48, so we'll see if this wants to set up intraday. Over the 50 SMA, popped up to 1710 on Friday, so relative strength there. It's been kind of a beaten down stock, but maybe starting to turn back up. So just for artificial intelligence stock, so we'll see if this one wants to maybe yield a setup intraday. All right, so this is Mike from ZozoStockWatch.com. I put out a stock watch list every night, so if you like the channel, please support the channel. Hit the subscribe button. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button, the dislike button every night. If you don't like this watch list, there'll be another watch list out tomorrow.